Today, I want to share a really powerful story with you. It's about a family that loses absolutely everything, only to find out that real wealth, well, it has nothing to do with money. It's a story about resilience, community, and finding support in the most unexpected of places. Let's dive in. The story kicks off with this incredibly desperate plea. We hear these words from Savitri, and she's begging the village headman for just a little more time. This one sentence just drops us right into the middle of her family's crisis, a crisis that has pushed them right to the edge. And that brings us to the first chapter of our story, which centers on Savitri's husband, Narendra. He's a man whose pride and his terrible circumstances are about to collide in a really dramatic way. So what's going on? Well, the family's situation is just dire. They couldn't pay back a loan they took for their son's medical bills. The village headman is completely ruthless, and just like that, they're thrown out of their home. They've lost everything. They find themselves on the road with no food, no money, and absolutely no idea where to go. And this moment, wow, it tells you everything you need to know about Narendra's character. Even in his desperation, he refuses to beg. He looks the headman in the eye and tells him he won't stay under the shadow of a man who is so merciless. It's a decision that's going to cost him in the short term, for sure, but this incredible self-respect becomes the very foundation of his journey. So just when you think things can't possibly get any worse, when they're at their absolute lowest point with nowhere to go, a little glimmer of hope appears. And this is the real turning point of the story: the unexpected support they get from a banyan tree. You have to picture this. They've been turned away by every single villager they asked for help. They're just exhausted, and they finally collapse in the shade of this enormous, ancient banyan tree. At this point, it is the only place in the world offering them any kind of refuge. And this is where the heart of the story really starts to beat. Their young son, Tapan, he discovers a huge, secure hollow inside the tree's trunk. And all of a sudden, this isn't just a tree anymore. It's a home. It becomes this powerful symbol of shelter when all else is lost. And it's the very foundation of their new life. All right, so this kicks off the next phase of their journey. With a roof or, a trunk over their heads, the family's sheer ingenuity and hard work start to completely turn their fate around. So Narendra, being a man of action, he goes and gets permission from the landowner, a guy named Rai Chowdhury, to build a little hut near the tree. But it's his wife, Savitri, who has the real game-changing idea. She notices all these tired travelers resting under the tree and suggests opening a small food stall, a dhaba. And that one little idea is the spark that's about to light a huge fire. And man, does that idea take off. Their food is amazing. The dhaba is a massive success. It gets so busy that Narendra actually has to hire 2 helpers. Then, inspired by what they're doing, an elderly sweet seller opens up a shop right next to them. And before you know it, this once empty spot under a tree has blossomed into a bustling local market, a brand new hub of life for the whole area. But you know how these stories go, right? Success, well, it often attracts the wrong kind of attention. The family's new prosperity plants a seed of jealousy in the village, and it leads to a very dangerous conspiracy. So, enter Raghu. He's one of the villagers who had turned Narendra away earlier. And now, just seething with jealousy, he goes to the landowner, Rai Chowdhury, and starts complaining. The very idea that an outsider could come to their village and get so successful, well, it's just something he can't stand. Raghu lays out this simple but totally poisonous temptation. He tells Chowdhury, look, if you get rid of Narendra, all the profits and taxes from this new market will be yours. He plants that seed of greed, and Chowdhury, who was the one who initially helped Narendra, is swayed by the promise of easy money. And just like that, their conspiracy is born. But just as the conspirators are about to make their move, an act of pure, selfless kindness comes out of nowhere and completely flips their plans upside down. This is the final act, the victory of humanity. So a man shows up at their dhaba, totally desperate and on the run from the landlord's men. He begs Savitri for a place to hide, and without a second thought, she leads him to the safest place she knows, that hollow inside the banyan tree. She has no idea that this man is a notorious but honorable bandit named Sintu Daku, or that this simple act of compassion is about to save her entire family. And then things just unravel so fast. The very next day, Chaudhary shows up and threatens to evict Narendra. But the bandit, Sintu, well, he's a man of his word. To repay Savitri's kindness, he kidnaps Chaudhary.
The conspirators are panic-stricken. They realize there's only one person who can reason with the bandit, Narendra. And so they come begging the very man they tried to destroy to please save his tormentor. After Narendra and Savitri actually go and secure his release, a humbled and broken Rai Chaudhary falls at their feet. And he says this. He says, he finally understands, he gets it. Real wealth isn't money, it's humanity. The forgiveness they showed him was worth more than anything he could ever own.
So in the end, it isn't revenge that wins, it's forgiveness. Narendra and Savitri don't try to get even. Instead, they restore their community. But this time, it's built on a new understanding. That compassion is the strongest currency there is. Chaudhary is a changed man, and the market under the banyan tree is alive and well. And all of that leaves us with this timeless question to think about, doesn't it? In a world that so often measures success by what's in our bank accounts, this story asks us to really consider what we value most. So, what is real wealth? The money we collect, or the humanity we share?